Welcome to Ecclesia Principles, a biblical strategy for believers to engage in God's design for government with Ray Eppard.
Hello, glad you could join us again today. We're continuing our discussion on Romans 13:1 and how that applies to the jurisdictions that we've been talking about. And particularly right now, we're looking at the A portion of Romans 13. And we've said that in order to understand this properly, we have to separate it from the people. And we have to keep in mind God's divine purpose for civil government. That divine purpose is, number one, the protection of rights, and number two, the curbing of sin. That is the ultimate purpose that God established civil government for. Now, with this, the A portion says, let every soul be subject to the governing authorities. And we've used the Declaration of Independence to show that really our founding fathers were telling King George that he was supposed to be subject to these jurisdictions that God had established, that God had created humanity. He had given humanity certain unalienable rights, and those rights came with the various jurisdictions. There's certain rights with self-government. There's certain rights with family government. There are certain rights with the principle of faith, church government, we'll call it. I'm not talking about government over a particular church or denomination. The principles of faith. There's certain rights that go along with each one of those, and they were saying, King George, you have violated these. You are not subject to God. You have usurped authority. Therefore, we have the right to disband from England. Now, with this, we also talked about the establishment of the Constitution, and that the Bill of Rights is the enumeration of the additional unalienable rights. The Declaration says, among these unalienable rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Bill of Rights is the listing of the rest of the rights that they believed were unalienable, that no government, no king, no president, no Congress had the right to remove. Which is why the First Amendment starts off with the phrase, Congress shall pass no law. You see, the entire Bill of Rights was not a limiting of what the people could do. It was a limiting of what the government could do. In other words, it was saying to the government, our own federal government, that you, as the government, are to be subject to the authorities that God has established. You are to be subject to the self-government that God has given people. So people have the right of freedom of speech. They have the right of freedom of peaceable assembly. They have those rights. That's a part of self-government. I'm allowed to have my own opinion. And you come down later in the different amendments. You don't have government, you don't have the right to bring people and just put them in my house because you want to. Because the family jurisdiction has to be honored. Matter of fact, even law enforcement, you can't come onto my property without just cause. All of these things are a recognition. The Bill of Rights is a recognition of the governing authorities that God established, even the freedom of religion. Congress shall pass no law in the establishment of religion, nor prohibit the free exercise thereof. Our government, the Bill of Rights, was designed to make it subject to the governing authorities that God had established. Join us again tomorrow. God bless you.
You've been listening to Ecclesia Principles with Ray Eppard. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook on our Ray Eppard pages. This program was brought to you by Victory Worship Center and World Outreach. Services Sunday 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, 200 Hammond Lane, Stanton, Virginia.